Yep.
Well, I'm glad you're here. Were you able to do last week's homework on rewards and results?
Well, I thought about having a Mountain Dew as my reward, but I pretty much just have that whenever I want it.
Oh, okay.
So maybe that wasn't a very good idea. But maybe like there's this purse I want.
Okay.
So maybe like using that as a reward.
This week we're going to focus on kind of what we've learned the last 4 weeks, and that's the FEAR plan. Last week, again, we learned results and rewards. This week we're just going to take the FEAR plan and put it into different situations in your life that cause you anxiety that we've discussed. You mentioned talking to your parents sometimes can bring you a great deal of anxiety. Now that you're getting older and you're entering the workforce, you got to apply for jobs, and that brings anxiety on, or college. But let's first start out and kind of recap on what the FEAR plan is. So we got our little whiteboard here. F. Do you remember what F stands for? I'm sorry, this is probably a little elementary, but at least if you have a visual as we go back.
Yeah, no, it's fine. F is feeling anxiety.
Feeling anxiety, that's great. Yes, thank you. And recognizing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
We focused a lot on that 1 week. You gave some really good examples of how your body changes. And great. So do you remember E?
Expecting bad things to happen.
Expecting bad things to happen. Do you still see yourself doing that?
Sometimes. I think I've gotten better with the self-talk.
So there's 3 situations that I came up with, kind of going over the last few weeks of what caused you anxiety. And all right, so the first one, again, it's kind of starting at the level of your hierarchy. We did the fear ladder. You said talking to your friends doesn't give you much anxiety, but then as you got higher, you noticed your parents were somewhere in the middle.
They're really strict. So, like if I want to go to a concert and I know it's going to be late past my normal curfew, like that makes me nervous, and I get anxiety just thinking about asking them. And they put a lot of pressure on me at school, and so any topic around school or college, it just makes me really anxious.
Sure. Okay, well, let's start there. Okay, so talking to your parents. Let's start with the F. We said feeling frightened. Here's this. You can use it if you want to refer to it. Not everyone likes to tell their parents difficult things. Even at my age, I don't like to, have a difficult conversation with my parents. Some of the things that I feel nervous. Sometimes I feel like I'm sweating in my face. I remember my heart beating out of my chest. And I thought maybe they could hear it because it just felt so loud. Do you recognize any things like that going on with you and your parents? Is there anything else?
Definitely the heart beating. I get kind of a shaky voice, which I hate because I don't like that that's so obvious that I'm nervous. And yeah, I get kind of like the butterflies in my stomach.
Okay.
And
So let's move on to E then, expecting bad things. Remember the thought traps that come into play. What would the pessimistic say?
They're never going to go for this. They're never going to extend your curfew.
Very good. The fortune teller, they might think, why even bother? Why even ask them? They don't ever understand me. Is that right? Do you feel that way with your parents sometimes?
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of feel like I know what they're going to say. That their response is always, nope, a good girl needs to be home at 10 p.m.
Sure.
Or, nothing good happens after midnight or whatever. There's just kind of those similar responses that I get every time.
So in action, we're going to problem solve, right? So one of the things that you can do when you're wanting to talk to your parent about maybe, like you said, going to a concert, you want to make sure that they have your focus and your focus only, so they're not distracted doing bills or watching TV or cooking dinner. Sometimes it's always nice to ask them questions about their day. Take interest in their life. Might kind of soften things up.
That's true. I've noticed when they're in a good mood, those conversations go a little bit better.
Yeah.
They're never in a good mood when they're paying bills.
No, that's true.
So that's not a good time.
Yeah, and that's another thing, attitude. You might have the thought, well, they're just going to say what they always say. But maybe they won't. Maybe this time they'll hear you out at least, or they'll let you get, at least let you speak everything that you want to say without stopping you right at the beginning. So as we mentioned earlier, you're at the age where you're going to start getting a part-time job, start meeting with employers, having interviews possibly for college, and just having the more face-to-face conversation with adults and less texting. And that can bring a lot of anxiety to a person. Just the thought of it can bring me anxiety if I'm looking for a new job. It does. And so working through the fear plan can help reduce this anxiety. So again, the F is feeling frightened. How do you feel when you're going to meet with someone about a job?
Well, you just started talking about it, and my hands just got clammy.
So what should you do is take a deep breath first, right? Wipe your hands off on your pants if you have to. That's the first step. And recognize your feelings, and to recognize that they'll go away, but they don't last. And then what your E is expecting bad things to happen. What might you expect? Might the pessimistic person expect?
I guess the pessimist in me would expect that they might ask me questions I don't know the answer to.
So what's some action that you could take to be more confident in yourself or more optimistic?
Like prior to the interview?
Yeah.
Probably.
Especially if you're expecting these feelings.
Yeah.
And you already have a bad attitude.
Practice. I should.
Very good. Because those would help reduce your anxiety, hopefully, because you'd anticipate some questions that'd be hard. Cause the sweaty palms. Great. I think that's great. See, you're getting this. Example 3 is freaking out about college. Okay, I'm sure you're starting to have those feelings.
Sounds familiar, yeah.
Yeah. So, again, I know this is being very repetitive, but if the more you use this fear plan, the more it's kind of like muscle memory. And you can constantly use it and reduce that anxiety. So move on to the next one.
Okay.
Expecting bad things to happen.
I might be worried that I won't get into any school. That I'll be the only one, that I'm going to do horribly on the SATs, that my parents will be mad at me.
Well, I probably just put a lot of bad thoughts in your head just thinking of those. Some of those you probably didn't even think of, huh?
I hadn't.
So I kind of set you up there. So now the next step, now the next step is attitudes and actions. What are some problem steps that we can have to get you through those scary things you just mentioned?
Well, obviously I really need to do well on my SATs or ACTs. I know the essay portion of applications are really important. I could probably have my my school counselor look over it. Maybe like my English teacher. Just definitely get some other eyes on it.
Yeah, see, that's great. I get the basic idea of the fear plan. Is that right? Okay. So if I send you home next week with a take-home project, and on your own during the week you can find a situation you come across and use the fear plan on your own. Do you think you could write about it and share it with me next week?
Yeah.
Okay, that'd be great.
Okay.
Is there anything else you want to talk about? I'd love to bring your mom in and kind of discuss how things have been going. That's okay. You can be in here with us, or you can leave the room. It's up to you.
Okay.
I just thought I'd discuss it with her, the fear plan, if that's okay, and kind of what we've gone on. So if she's able to help you at home,
Okay.
you could use some support at home, that's great.
Sure.
Okay. Thanks. Hello, Mrs. Adams. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you? Where do you want me to sit?
You can sit right next to Lindsay here.
Okay. I showered today. You don't have to scoot away that far. Ouch.
So how are you doing? You doing good?
Yeah.
Good. Well, thanks for coming in. I won't take much of your time. I just wanted to go over what Lindsay and I have been going over for the last 8 weeks. We've been discussing the FEAR plan the last 4 weeks. Last time we met, we just talked about kind of what I was going to do with her. And now we've gone through all these 4 steps, and I thought we'd go over it with you. Lindsay, would you like...
You're going to help her calm down?
That's our goal, is to help reduce her anxiety and help her get through situations that make her nervous.
Okay.
You think I'm not calm?
Well, we know you struggle with things, right? That's why we're here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, but if you've found some ways to get around that, that's good. You know.
She's an amazing girl, and she's come a long ways just from when I've known her. And I think if we can get you on board with this FEAR plan, you can be a sounding support for her at home as well.
Okay.
So, Lindsay and I, like I said, have been working on this all week. And here's the basic FEAR plan. FEAR, the F stands for feeling frightened.
Okay.
Lindsay starts to recognize when she's feeling anxious, what happens to her body. You know, whether it's her heart's pounding out of her chest, she's got sweaty palms, butterflies in their stomach, about to throw up. Just know that, you know, sometimes your daughter just gets a lot of anxiety, just to approach you with maybe things she even thinks that you're going to say yes to or approve of. And just know that she's kind of working through this FEAR plan. So
Okay.
on her next step for E, she's expecting bad things to happen. I guess she just assumes always. Maybe she thinks she's the fortune teller and these things. Oh, Mom, like you just said, Mom's not going to let me go to the concert because she didn't get to go until she was 23 years old. We talked about thought traps and being pessimistic for Lindsay, at least, point of view of already determining what her parents are going to say, or that they always say no, or they're just going to think I'm immature and can't handle it. We're trying to prevent her from having these thoughts about herself that are interfering with her, that create her anxiety.
I let her cook dinner the night she asked. I said yes then. So
That's
do
good.
I always say no?
Not always.
Okay.
Okay, so then on step 3, I feel like this is an important one. It's about her attitude and action. It's more of a problem solving. How can she change her attitude to help reduce her anxiety towards something, and what steps could she take, or solutions are there to help reduce the anxiety to get her through the situation. Her rewards and results is the last one, and this is important where you come into, because as I mentioned, Lindsay is working really hard and getting through these things, and it's not easy, especially at her age. She's got a lot coming at her as a teenager and a lot of pressure for the future. Know that, like for anyone, that rewards are very motivating, and they can maybe be that final push to get someone through their anxiety. So if that's something.
So
you
it
can
sounds
help
like
with.
maybe there's things that I need to work on as a parent too, to help her work through her things, and maybe it would be beneficial to be more involved in this process, so I can be more supportive to her through her anxiety.
Next week, I look forward to seeing the situation you've come across and how you've applied the FEAR plan to it. And grateful that your mom was here and is able to see kind of what's going on and how she can be a support to you as well. And get that anxiety level down quite a bit. And Mrs. Adams, I also have a handout here for you that kind of goes over the FEAR plan some more in ways that parents can be helpful.
Okay.